All right, let's jump right into this amazing manuscript. We start in Petersburg, a city that feels like it's made of ice and granite, locked in a winter so brutal it feels like the world itself is frozen. But this story isn't really about the cold. It's about the invisible forces, the hidden currents that guide our lives. And bam, right out of the gate, the author hits us with this. Is everything that happens to us just random chance, a roll of the dice? Or is there something bigger at play, a destiny that we're just too afraid to admit exists? This one idea, it's the engine for this entire story. So who's at the heart of this huge cosmic question? Well, it's a man who believes he is the most insignificant person alive, Dmitri Volkonsky. What's so brilliant here is how we see Dmitri from two angles, and neither is very flattering. From his own point of view, he's just a clerk. His life is this tiny, repetitive loop. And then you have his father's words, which are just brutal. He's a man who has completely given up, just a twig on what was once a great family tree. But then it happens. One single moment that just shatters his entire predictable world. A scream in a dark alley. And Dmitri, this creature of ink and paper, does the one thing no one would ever expect him to do. He runs towards the danger. He saves this mysterious woman, Vera, and in that one act, he stumbles onto a battlefield he didn't even know existed. Yeah, see, Dmitri didn't just walk into a random street crime. He has accidentally stepped into a secret war, a war that isn't fought over territory or money, but over the past itself. And with this question, Vera just blows his mind, and ours. She tells him that history isn't this solid, unchangeable thing we think it is. No, it's more like a fabric, a tapestry that can be pulled apart and woven back together by people who have the power to do it. So who are these people, these weavers of time? They're called the operators. And get this, they're not just tourists going back in time. They are reality's architects, warring groups constantly editing and re-editing the past to control the present, which means the world we live in right now might just be the latest draft. And this war has been raging for thousands of years. It all started with this incredible discovery back in ancient Alexandria. From there, it just became centuries of chaos, factions rewriting history, erasing each other's changes over and over. And it's all leading to this one final, terrifying event called the Revision, a plan to end the war by freezing history in one single version, forever. To make this all feel real, Vera shares her own terrifying secret. And this just perfectly shows the personal cost. She's not talking theory here. She has literally lived through days that were then erased from existence. Can you imagine carrying memories of timelines that no one else remembers? The weight of that must be crushing. So that brings us back to Dmitri. Why him? Why was the ordinary clerk there on that specific night? Well, because, as it turns out, his whole identity, his whole family history, has been a carefully constructed lie. Vera is carrying this locket that she thinks is the key to stopping the operators, but she can't open it. The moment Dmitri touches it, though, boom, he gets this vision from Vera's long-dead father, who drops this bombshell on him. The locket isn't the key. Dmitri is. And as this lays out, Dmitri's family wasn't just fading away. They were hiding in plain sight. They're a vessel, an ancient bloodline carrying a powerful weapon against the operators, literally encoded into their DNA. His boring, ordinary life was the perfect camouflage. And the crazy part? He's the last one. So how in the world does he access this power? Well, it's not by studying books, it's through emotion. All this knowledge is buried in his ancestors' memories. And they aren't sorted by date, they're sorted by how intense the feelings are. To find a specific memory, he has to feel a specific, overwhelming emotion. And this is where the story gets so poetic. The greatest pain of Dmitri's life becomes his most powerful weapon. He has to dive back into the hurt and shame he felt from his father's cruel letters and use that powerful feeling of betrayal like a key to unlock one very specific, very important memory from an ancestor. And the memory he finds is just catastrophic. He's suddenly experiencing a horrible betrayal in ancient Alexandria through an ancestor's eyes. And in the traitor's final chilling words, he learns everything. The operator's ultimate target and the exact moment they're going to make their final move. So that one memory changes the entire game. The final battle isn't going to be fought in the frozen streets of Petersburg. It's going to happen 2,000 years in the past, right in the heart of the ancient world. This chart just breaks down the stakes perfectly. You've got both sides aiming for the exact same place and time. The Library of Alexandria, during the fire started by Caesar in 48 BCE. The operators want to make sure it's completely wiped out so they can control all knowledge. But Dmitri's mission? It's even bigger. He's not just there to stop them. He's there to end the entire war by destroying the very concept of time manipulation itself. And here's how he's gonna do it. It's an insane plan. He projects his mind all the way back in time, into the body of an ancestor, a scholar named Nikolaevich. Working with a tiny resistance group, he manages to steal the very artifact the operators are using to anchor their plan. And then, he gets ready to unleash everything that's hidden in his DNA. He begins the ritual. He starts channeling generations of secrets and sacrifice into a single point in space and time, aiming it right at the network that links all of the operators' anchors throughout history. And it works. A wave of pure energy just ripples through time. All of their anchors, in Rome, in Constantinople, in Baghdad, every single one they've ever placed in history begins to shatter, breaking the very foundation of their power. And then, nothing. The power to change the past is just gone. The ability to play God has been erased from the universe. What's left is a single, quiet, stable timeline that can never be changed again. The war is over. After it's all done, Dmitri confronts the leader of the operators, a man named Theron. And this conversation, it gets right to the philosophical heart of the story. Theron is furious, saying Dmitri has doomed humanity to live with all its mistakes, all its tragedies. But Dmitri sees it completely differently. He hasn't doomed them. He has freed them to finally be human. But that freedom, winning a war that big, well, it comes with a price that's almost impossible to imagine. Not just for the world, but for Dmitri himself. We end with these final, haunting words from Vera. The clerk, the quiet man, the creature of ink and paper, he sacrificed absolutely everything. He unmade the war for yesterday so that everyone else could have a chance at a real tomorrow. And it leaves us with this question: is any price too high for a world where our choices, for good or for bad, are finally truly our own?